All right, hello. So this is in response to a video that Kevin has asked me to watch and get my feels about. And so for anyone who hasn't connected with this particular video that I am mentioning, Kevin was tuning in and just sharing his downloads connected about relationships, partnerships, specifically romantic ones. And so it's really interesting, Kevin, because I have been tuning into this for a lot recently, and something that I was planning on communicating about. And so I really am just expressing a lot of gratitude to you because this is obviously the time now to do this. So it's all perfect, right? So the first thing that I'll start with, right, is moving across the country, because there's just been so many lessons in that. So when you do that, there are many new experiences and situations that you move through that maybe on a normal day-to-day, when you're in your routine in your same hometown that you grew up in, that you might not be experiencing, right? So that in itself has opened up so many beautiful awarenesses, right? So with that, as many of you know, I have maybe gone through certain moments of communicating the way I see my divine reflection, my divine counterpart partnership, how I've expressed that, right? And it's all in the moment, and it's all playful, and however I choose to express it. So sometimes I use the word babe, or love, or partner, or significant other, or fiance, or best friend. But I gotta tell you, those words do not even equate to like what it is. And in my opinion, and how I currently feel, best friend is the best word that I have, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's just our human vocabulary, right? So from moving out here, what I've realized is there are many different roles that we can embody in every relationship, right? It doesn't have to just be a romantic and intimate one. It can just be a friendship. It can be a relationship with a family member, right? There's many different roles that we play within that. This year, me and my best friend have been laughing about the different roles that we do play, right? And the silly example that's coming to me right now is being a co-pilot in the car, right? And what I felt like was a co-pilot in the car was not the same interpretation and perspective that he felt was a co-pilot in the car. And as silly as that might sound, that's just the example that's coming to me in this moment. Anyways, so the many roles that we play, right? We, as humans, have this really beautiful capability of emotions, right? Having so many different emotions, whatever they may be: happiness, joy, bliss, sadness, frustration, anger, right? And as we move through all of these, we embody these different roles. We're moving, or literally rolling, through all of these different energetic waves. And so as we are embodied in each moment with whatever experience we're in, it's being accepted and valued is the word that's coming up. And having a totally open heart and a heart of a child, like Kevin had mentioned, and really being innocent in that space, right? The goofy side, the silly side. Even though I was an athlete and played sports in college, I can be very clumsy. And so it's being able to express all of those different roles and all of those different sides of us, all those different aspects of us, right? And still know that we are in that vibration of love always, right? So that to me is an aspect of best friends. So we'll kind of dive into a little bit more of that. The one thing that I got this vision in my head as Kevin was talking, right? So one of his points was being in the heart of a child or being an adult, right, in relationships. So I got this vision of being at the playground, and I'm sure this probably happened like growing up, right? But being at the playground and literally like going up to a boy and be like, oh, do you want to go out? Sure. All right. Like, you know, and that was that, right? And then maybe in the next 5 minutes you broke up and all was well, right? It was just, it's play. So, it was a really interesting example that was brought up about if someone came up to you, right, and asked you out on a date, what would you say? If you didn't know them, if they were perceived to be a stranger, because it's still just you, right? What would you say? And just think about that for a minute. Like, what would you, if someone, regardless of where you're at currently in your life, right? Say you're single, whatever that means. And someone came up to you and just asked you, like, do you want to go on a date? Do you want to hang out? You know? And for me, as I heard that example, it's just like, you're looking at yourself, right? So that's the first thing. The other thing is like, why not? Why not? You will literally feel when we're in the heart of a child, right? We're in that joy space, that bliss, that innocenceness. When you're in that space, I mean, why wouldn't you say yes? It's just for fun. It doesn't have to be so serious, you know? So that was a vision that I got that I wanted to share as well. What is next? And this is all from my perspective, right? So, for what that's worth. So for me, I am now in a space of being conscious about releasing expectations and judgments. And whenever I'm still human, right? So as we move through these different experiences, right, in our day-to-day, there may be moments where I might catch myself in an expectation, and that's okay. It's exactly where I'm supposed to be because there's a lesson to be learned, right? There's an opportunity for growth. So with that being said, when we have the conscious awareness, we could be like, wow, I see how I'm feeling. That's so interesting. Why do I have this expectation? Why do I have this judgment? Would I want that placed on me? Probably not. And so it's just a great opportunity to go ahead and release it. That's all that is, right? And so I had realized that I had put expectations and judgments on my divine partnership, which was not fair. They were literally made up by the mind, right? Made up by the mind, which means they were not coming from the heart. And that's okay. It was beautiful lessons, and they still continue to be, whatever decides to show up, right? So for me, I have realized that with my divine reflection, if we want to, we'll talk about the human side, right? Have been connected for about 9 years. Through high school, college to now, right? And so as you go through all of those years, you go through what you think you're supposed to be like in high school, whatever that is. You go through college where you're finally on your own and you're going through all of that. And then you get into the real world and adulting, right? More air quotes. And as you go through all of that, you're finding your way, you're figuring out what your truth is, and you're learning who you are, you know? And as you go through that, what I had learned was this year, I was uncovering all these really beautiful awarenesses about who I am. And I felt like, because I had this expectation and this judgment, I felt like I could not be who I know I am because how I used to be in the past in this relationship. And how silly is that? We are meant to continuously evolve and grow. So I'm not the same person yesterday. I'm not the same person from 5 minutes ago, right? I'm not the same person from when I started this video. And how amazing that we can continue to evolve and grow as we do. So, as me, realize what our truth is and realize who our true essence is, it is being in this space of total vulnerability and being like, this is me. This might not be the person who you first started dating. On some level it is, right? But things have shifted a little bit. They have evolved. And so it's allowing someone to be their, if you want to use the word, authentic self, to be vulnerable, to be in this space that they are who they are. And if you choose to be in this divine reflection and partnership with them, fantastic. It's a compliment to their energy. Don't expect anything from them. It's meant to be balanced, right? And within that space, there's freedom. Freedom in the sense that when we are in our hearts, this is love, right? When we are in our hearts, it's love. So of course there's freedom, because who doesn't want to exchange love with another human being? Because it's literally you. It's literally a reflection of you. And love comes in so many different forms. It comes from holding the door open for someone at the coffee shop, you know? Maybe paying it forward and getting someone's food, you know, who's in front of you or behind you in line. Like, love comes in so many different ways. And it's allowing ourselves, when our hearts are open, to express that love however we decide to in that moment. That's freedom. And it's that unification in that partnership and that trust that allows us to express in that way. I may have gone on a little bit of a tangent for me. Look back what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so we're meant to complement each other, right? Versus wanting something from them subconsciously, like we owe them something, or that they owe us something, right? They're supposed to act like this, or they're supposed to do that. We can clear and release all of that, right? That may have been an old way of thinking. That's okay. At some point in time, maybe this physical form felt that way too, but we're ready to go ahead and collapse and merge that timeline. It's beautiful lessons have come from it, right? Yet we are now in this space of total conscious awareness that we know when our hearts are fully open that we can be exactly who we are as source, connected with source, playing with source, right? Oh, so Kevin made such a really beautiful point about the chakras, right? So he connected with, in his experience, how it's connecting with the crown chakra and working the way down to the root. And Kevin, I wanted to share this with you because it's just such a beautiful awareness. And as we each have our own unique human experiences, right? They essentially are all connecting us to opening our hearts more, right? Yet we have all chosen to go through certain opportunities of growth. And I say that based on, once you dive into your astrological birth chart, you learn things that you have connected and mastered in past lifetimes, what you came to do in this lifetime. And it literally shows you the different experiences and interactions that you have set up for yourself to learn and grow from. So for me, I started at an imbalanced, root chakra, and that's okay. That's how I chose to come into this lifetime to get to exactly where I am at. So for me, my experience, my perspective is it may have been more of a focus on the physical. Maybe it wasn't so balanced, and that's okay. And then it moved into the space where I felt like it was only the spiritual connection that I was desiring, right? The word desire. that it was just a spiritual connection, this emotional connection, this mental connection, right? And then I got to a space this year where I realized it's a balance of all of it, right? It's a balance of everything. So now I'm returning to the physical aspect of things, right? And the physical can mean whatever you want it to mean in your life. So an example that's coming to me right now to share with you is played sports whole life, right? Literally, like majority of my life. And then after college, I just got to this point where I was like, I'm not playing sports anymore. I'm not working out anymore. I'm not doing any physical movement. Those words literally came out of my mouth. This is something else that I will touch on at a later video. So anyways, until probably 2 weeks ago, I realized that the physical is a really important aspect and literally why we are here in this physical plane, to be able to touch this and to be able to drink water. You know, like the physical is really important. So now I'm in a space of, you can call it working out. It's been fun, so it's actually a little bit more play. And now I'm realizing how important the physical is and what it means to be balanced in the physical. And I'm able to connect that because of my previous experiences in the past, that has just allowed me to have the awareness that I do now. And that was the lessons that I chose to go through, and it was perfect, and it still is perfect, right? So my connection with all of this is we all just choose to go through whatever lessons that we set up for ourselves, right? And however we choose to connect and align with the literal lessons within the chakras, those energy centers, it is what it is, you know? And I also get the image of, as we connect with our crown, if we haven't cleaned up this and we open this up, I mean, if that's the lesson that we are meant to go through, then it is, but also just kind of keep that in mind, you know? Or in your heart. Is there anything else? So I think that's it. And, okay, this is the last thing. Heart of a child, right? That innocence-ness. It's being able to be, like, I have this vision right now of literally whether you want to hold hands with your divine complement, your divine partner, right? And, you know, skipping on the beach is what I'm seeing. But it's just being able to be a kid in so many aspects. I literally have, this is hilarious, my little Tupperware with raisins. Raisins are like my new favorite thing right now. And I feel like a little kid. I got my little container. I've been going to the beach and I got my raisins, you know, and it's all perfect. And it's being able to be that goofy little kid and just move throughout your day, move moment to moment. All right, I think it's time to give these pups a walk. So I'm hearing that that is complete as well. Kevin, I hope this it's exactly what it's supposed to be, right? So sending so much love from me to you, whoever is on the other end.